Welcome to Movie Nights. This week is a very fitting topic.
It sucks.
Considering this is the second time that we're recording this episode. We had a whole hour plus, and something with the audio got messed up. So we have to do it again. But that's okay, because our topic this week is movies that piss us off. So it's fitting. We had a little bit of a rage session last night, and now we get to do it again. And so this isn't like a callback to episode 1 where we did our favorites and now we're going to do our least favorites. It's not quite that. It's just 5 movies that we just make us mad when we watch them. And so, it's fitting that we do it twice. So I'll kick it to you, Brandon. You can give us maybe some honorable mentions before we hop into our 5s. In no particular order.
Yeah. Well, mine has an order.
Okay,
our last ones. Mine is relatively in order. But my honorable mention to start is not even just a movie, but it's 3/4 of a franchise. And that is going to be the Fast and the Furious franchise. And the part that makes me so angry about these movies from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think they're making 9, or 9 already came out. And it makes me so mad because I hate cars. I don't like cars. I've always been the one weird person who couldn't talk to other people about cars. I could just never care about them. But the first Fast and the Furious movie made me care about cars. And it was so cool. I thought it was so well done. Tokyo Drift, great, fantastic 2 movies. And I was actually really excited the first time I heard that they were going to try to make a trilogy, then a saga, and more into it, because I was like, wow, okay, I would love to see more of these characters. They're really cool. I love the whole racing aspect, and there's a little bit more to them at times. And then they tried to turn them into these weird, just blockbuster action movies that felt like The Expendables with younger actors. And I just don't get it. It's like if they would have turned Harry Potter into a sci-fi after 2-3 movies. It's like, hey, you all like what we're doing here. Now it's like if they turned Harry Potter just into a sports movie. Like if it was just about
just Quidditch.
Yeah, just Quidditch. That's how this would have been. First 2 movies are about Harry Potter and really going into detail about sorcery and magic and all the deeper, dark things that you can do in that universe. But now they're going to be sport movies. That's how weird this change was to me. And it just makes me so angry because this is a movie genre that I would have never cared about. And I finally found one that I was like, wow, that's actually really cool. And then they ruined it for me. I know these movies have a really big following. I know people like them. And I'm not even someone who's going to sit here and say, I hate them because they changed them and I'm never going to watch them. I saw 5. I saw 6. I saw 7. I don't think I saw 4. So I think that's maybe the one I haven't seen. But I've seen them. I've a handful of friends that really love these movies. And they're like, I'll pay for your ticket and popcorn. I'm like, okay, fine. Free popcorn. I get to watch a movie that's, it's one of those things where it's it's visually pleasing, so I'll give these movies that. So it's at least it's something fun to look at, but the story and the plot and everything is not there. The character development is garbage. I love that they get Jason Statham in this. There's some really good actors, but it's just oversaturated garbage. And that's what really just makes me mad about these movies.
So funny enough, Fast and Furious is actually on my list. That's one that's not the worst offender, but they're so insulting. And I'll get into it a little bit more when we actually do a dive on our list. But I have a couple honorable mentions. The newest Godzilla, talked about that a little bit. It's on the Fury Film Review if you gave that a read. I hate movies that break their own rules, and they had more than one moment where they explicitly said, this is a rule of this universe, and 4 minutes later there was just some guy doing the exact opposite, and you're like, lazy. The second Fantastic Beasts, again, we talked about that. It was all filler, all set up. It wasn't its own movie, and I hate that. And Jack and Jill, because that movie just really, really, really sucks. And I feel bad for Al Pacino and for Adam Sandler and for everyone else who had to watch that horrendous piece of garbage. Those are my honorable mentions. But like I said, Fast and the Furious is actually on my list, and so I'll start with that as my first one. Like you said, it's kind of just like the second half of the franchise. It is so bad and so like insultingly bad. Like I watch that and I feel like I'm being bullied because the director just thinks that I'm that stupid, you know? And it's hard because I don't want to make fun of people who like this franchise because I get it. It's stupid and there's explosions and who cares? It's a popcorn flick. I just can't stand when movies are just like, screw you. I don't care. You don't care. Here's a movie. Boom. Done. Yeah, that's right. The Rock just fell 80 stories onto his head in a car, and then the building exploded, then fell on the car that he was in because he fell off the building onto the car, and then the building on the car fell onto him, and then he's just going to walk out, and there's just going to be like a little piece of rubble on his shoulder, and like a shirt's going to be torn, and he's just going to be like, let's do this. And you're like, no, let's not, because you're dead. Because you're showing me, like, as much as I'm going to suspend reality to be in this movie, it's very clearly a movie that's supposed to take place in a vaguely, like, real world. Because other people are dying in a regular way. So clearly people can die. But then it's just some of the dumbest stuff. And it's just like, they turn gravity off half the time. They turn injuries off. It's like a video game and they have the cheat codes. And it's just insulting. Because there's no self-awareness to it. Be stupid. Like The Meg. The Meg is awful. And it also has Jason Statham in it. But it's really funny. It's really fun to watch because it knows what it is. It knows it's really, really stupid. It knows it's just a dumb movie about a dumb shark and dumb people. But you watch it and you're like, that's fun. Because who cares? But Fast and the Furious is like, check this out. And you're like, no, this is stupid. It's a Hot Wheels commercial. I don't care. You're not doing what you think you're doing. And so it's just annoying because it's like that person who thinks they're like, haha, gotcha. And you're like, no, you didn't. And I want you to know that. But I can't because you're not a person. I'm already getting heated. We're on number one. I'm not even that mad at Fast and Furious. I'm going to find my zen. How does your list start, Brandon?
Well, my list starts with one of your honorable mentions. And I really loved it. And again, we didn't discuss our list before this. Of course, we are re-recording it after we broke it. And this was so exciting when I heard him mention this for the first time in the honorable mention. And that is Jack and Jill. And to me, don't get me wrong, this movie is really bad. It is a terrible, terrible movie. What makes me mad about it, though, is not the movie itself. It's the portrayal of what Adam Sandler is because of this movie and then a couple other movies. Because arguably, this movie came out in late 2011. If you just erase 2011 to 2013 Adam Sandler movies, he is a fantastic actor still. People love Adam Sandler still. No one talks bad about him. No one gives him any crap. Because, I mean, here, for 2011, you have Jack and Jill. Terrible. You have That's My Boy. Garbage. I was excited for that movie, I'll be honest. I was like, maybe Redemption? Because it has Andy Samberg and Adam Sandler. I'm like, this is going to be fantastic. Like, this is great casting. And then that one sucked. And then Grown Ups 2 came out. And then that was just, you did really good on the first one. Why are you making a comedy sequel? A lot of comedies don't need sequels. Stop it. And then, it's a bit weak after that as well. The Cobbler, Pixels, But then you have 2016, The Do-Over, which I think was phenomenal. I really love that movie. If you haven't seen it, give it a shot on Netflix. That was kind of the comeback of, okay, Adam Sandler, that was solid. And then you have Uncut Gems in 2019. I think, as weird as it is to say, one of his best movies. Because I grew up, Adam Sandler was one of my favorite actors. The goofy, obnoxious, loud child Adam Sandler is my favorite. But Uncut Gems blew me away. I watched it twice in 24 hours. I went to bed, watched it, woke up the next day. I had nothing else to do. I was just doing some editing and stuff like that. I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch it again. That movie was amazing. That's how much I love that movie. And just to get back to pre-2011, all his movies are really good. And if you take out that little gap, everyone still loves Adam Sandler. I think people are starting to like him again because little jump to it. But we'll be doing our movie review possibly tomorrow. So after you see this, either tomorrow or Thursday night, we'll be doing a Hubie Halloween. I've heard amazing stuff about this movie so far. Came out Friday on Netflix. I'm really excited. And maybe this is going to be the return of Everyone Loves Adam Sandler again.
Could be.
Really hope so. But as I was mentioning, pre-2011, you have Grown Ups. First one was really good. It was a fun movie. It was a great time. Before that, you had Funny People. I'll be honest, I really like Funny People. A little bit more of a serious movie at times. I thought it was really good. Then you go to Bedtime Stories. Not great. Cute movie, though. It was cute. I had fun with it. Then you have Click. I thought Click was a really interesting take on a little bit more of a serious role for Adam Sandler. And then Longest Yard. I love Longest Yard. That's one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies. 50 First Dates. You have Anger Management in 2003. And then Mr. Deeds and the kind of the back to the normal.
The golden age.
Yeah, like the golden age. Big Daddy, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, all those. And you just take out that weird little 3-year gap of terrible Adam Sandler movies. He is a genius actor for all his other roles, and it sucks that people just want to remember him for the 3-year bad time. And I get it, everyone just wants to remember the bad at times, and it sucks. But hopefully this is the return of Adam Sandler, and that is why Jack and Jill is number 5 on my list, because again, it's a bad movie. It's a terrible movie, but I hate what happened to Adam Sandler because of that movie.
That's a really good point, too, because I didn't really think about that. But yeah, outside of... Because everyone's like, oh, God, he can't make movies anymore. I'm guilty of it. After, 4 or 5 bad ones in a row, it was just like, oh, he's just cashing checks for Netflix. They told him to make 40 movies in 6 years, and he was like, all right, here you go. But yeah, you're totally right. If you take out just that chunk, everything before it and after it is totally respectable. But so many people want to write him off for just that chunk.
Yeah, and it really does suck. Again, we'll hope for the return of Adam Sandler. There's I'm worried that this is going to ruin him, but there's talks. Man. There's talks about a Sandler verse.
Oh my God!
I saw that today. And
it's an SNL sketch, man. Sketch.
And I'm almost
SNL sketch. I love that.
And I'm kind of happy that we get to re-record this now to talk about that. But there's a Sandler verse in the works, like an MCU sort of deal, that you're going to see Billy Madison return and that character return and this and this and that. And oh my goodness, that would be either the worst movie I've ever seen before, or I need to somehow find a way to personally deliver all my money to Adam Sandler.
Oh my God, Sandlerverse.
It's gonna be weird but interesting. But we talked about my 5th movie on my list. Alex, what is the next one on your list?
So for me, this one, it really makes me mad because of what it could be, and that's Aquaman. I hated this movie, and I don't think I've made that a secret throughout this whole show of ours. I don't like this movie. It's awful. It's so bad, and it so didn't have to be. It's just like this entire movie is just like spotty CGI, and then Jason Momoa landing backwards, turning his head, giving a superhero quip, and then just beating some dude's ass for 4 minutes. And then that's it. And then he goes to a different location, lands backwards, turns his head, superhero quip, and then he punches him. And you're like, why? What? Give me something more. Points for Willem Dafoe, and Nobody else. And I love Jason Momoa, except okay, his dad. His dad was cool, and I like the sort of grungy, like fisherman port town that he was in. I like how they kind of gave Aquaman some grit, because you totally could have just turned him into SpongeBob and just been like, "Hey, Aquaman," but no, they were like, "He's a guy. Woo, go get him." But then it was just awful. It was so bad, and the idea behind it, I like. Like the Atlanteans hating the humans on Earth for polluting the oceans. I'm down with that, man. That's cool. It makes sense on why they would hate them. I don't even hate like some of the actual plot details, because it's fine and who cares, and you're surrendering yourself when you're watching a movie to whatever the plot's going to be, and I take that in. It's like, all right, cool. But then everything else execution wise was just hot garbage. It was just hot, wet Pacific garbage patch garbage. It was awful. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and they tried to bring in like the Manta guy, and he's kind of like he's in a Fast and Furious movie, because it doesn't seem like anything they do can kill him. They just like blew him up, and then he flew like 100 yards and hit his head on like cinder blocks and then drowned, and then he's just still there like 20 minutes later. You're like, why are you trying so hard to set up a sequel? Just write your damn movie, because you didn't do it, and it sucks. And it bummed me out, because I was so psyched about this movie, because I love Jason Momoa. It was like, awesome, gritty, grungy Aquaman, Jason Momoa. He's a badass. And this movie blows. I hate it. Zen. Finding Zen.
And it's one of those things where originally I really wanted to attempt to defend this movie, because every time I think about the movie, I'm like, yeah, it was decent. Yeah, it was fine. But then I think, why did it take me... I didn't see it in theaters. That was one of the first superhero movies I didn't see in theaters. It took me a year to see it, and I haven't watched it again since. I've watched every Marvel DC movie outside of one we're going to talk about in a little bit here. I've watched twice, at least twice, maybe 5, maybe 10 times, depending how long they've been out, because that's how much I just enjoy superhero movies. But we own Aquaman, and I haven't watched it again. Watched it one time, and I think it does kind of say something. So I do get your point, and I do get your side of it with Black Manta, because I'll be honest, he's one of my favorite DC villains because he looks so freaking cool. I love his just his getup, and then he just cool. Didn't have a point. He was there for
like an annoying brother. He was just like,
yeah,
go away for 20 minutes.
Yeah, he was this weird, like, I'm gonna show up for this one little scene and then just be gone. I don't know. It just felt so forced to throw because that's Aquaman's coolest villain visually, and it just felt like a force. Let's just get him in there somewhere. Honestly, I would rather have him been the villain the whole movie.
Sure,
it would be cool. But don't just throw him in there just to throw him in there. Even again, as I said, I love that we saw him, but we didn't get anything. That part of the movie is bad because it's just why is this dude here? And then he's gone. And is he dead? Is he I don't know. It was weird.
Is he dead? Because he's definitely dead. He's not dead.
All right.
Anyway, your turn.
It's all right. So the next one on here, and again, I did say mine is going to be in a list form. And my fourth one on here is New Mutants. And it's funny because this is probably the worst movie on my list. It's the worst made movie. But I can agree here because all these other ones I went into being extremely excited. Even Jack and Jill I was excited for it because at the time I was blinded. Everything Adam Sandler is perfect. First time I was wrong. And this one I went into for New Mutants. And there's just multiple things with it. One, the movie is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It started production in 2015, finally came out in 2020, and I get why. And it really blows me away that when Marvel got Fox, that they just didn't go, here is X amount of money that it took you to make this, go. Hide, destroy this movie, never let anyone see this, because it was so bad. I'll give it the CGI moments, the visuals were good. It was fine. Nothing terrible there, nothing really bad, anything that was like, oh my goodness. But the actors, it just didn't feel like they've ever acted before prior to this movie. And I just didn't know if this was like a high school movie or young adult or an adult movie, kind of what I mentioned with Enola Holmes, because it felt like you didn't know who they were targeting this movie at. The first hour and 20 minutes of it is just these 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds in this like asylum starting drama. The cool girl's like, I don't like you because you're the new girl. And then the cool guy is just like, I'm cool and hot. And I'm going to say that my parents are really cool. And then there's this dorky dude who doesn't understand how to use his powers and he's really shy. And then there's this girl who can turn into a wolf. Don't get me started on that, because that was the dumbest part of the whole movie. Her character, cool. Her power, cool. There is a scene, and I have no problem with what they did trying to do with the romance. They had the main female character like falling for the wolf girl, and I had no problem with that. I don't care about, they can do whatever they want with that. But they made it so awkward and so forced, like they were trying to make us mad that they had two girls falling in love with each other. It's like they were trying to make everyone mad about it because how they executed it. It felt like they were 12, like bumping into each other, like, oh my God. And it was stuff like that. And it really just pissed me off. And there's one scene, it was like the first time, like, you're like, oh my goodness, okay, yeah, they like each other. They're like saying it and stuff. They're out laying in the grass, looking up at the stars. I'm like, okay, this is a fine scene. It's whatever. And then they kiss. I'm like, fine, whatever, cool. And then the wolf girl looks up and her eyes turn like the wolf. And she's like, oh no, they're ugly. Don't look at them. And I'm like,
horny like the wolf.
yeah. And I'm like, don't you dare. Don't you dare give me that garbage in this movie. It's already been so bad. But then you're going to try to pull off the, oh no, they're so ugly. And then like the lead character is like, I love them. It's like, don't, like, why are you making this so awkward? It was so bad. And there's just so much to it that made me so angry. And the biggest thing that makes me so angry with this movie is movie theaters have been gone for so long. And I finally got the courage because I looked at the theater and there was no one going to this movie. And I get why. And I get why.
For real.
And I was so excited to go see a movie. And now movie theaters are gone. And this is the one movie that I saw post-COVID, pre-going back into COVID. And this is the movie that I saw. Stupid. Makes me sad, makes me angry. Okay, Alex, what's your movie?
Careful, you don't want to start getting wolf eyes on us here.
Oh, don't do that to me. I'm gonna bust a blood
actually,
vessel.
On the line of people being vaguely animals, I saw cats in the movie theater, like on purpose. I didn't buy the ticket. It was offered to me because there's like a whole family group thing going, and I was like, all right, fine, it'll be something to talk about. Oh my God. And it was, so yeah, this movie was just like some weird acid-headed fever dream. Just like something you go through that you don't really come back from the same way. And the worst part was that it was also just a bad movie. So you had to deal with both of them. You had to deal with, like, what the hell is going on, just, like, sensory-wise. But then also, like, why is there no continuity with the size of these demon creatures? Like, why in one scene is a cat the size of a pencil, and in the other scene, it's taller than me? Like, you have them under a table eating cockroaches with human faces on them doing some like dance, and the cat's just it's Rebel Wilson eating people, cockroach people, as a cat person thing, and she's like this big. And then they cut to like a cat just in the street or like walking across a railroad track, and they're clearly like 6 feet tall. So it's like, what the hell kind of cats do y'all have over there? And why is there such a just disgusting difference between the two? And then it's just like, it wasn't even finished when we released it. Like, actually not finished. There were parts where you would see like cat CGI, and then there would be another scene, and it's just like someone with a sleeve on, and you're like, that's very, very clearly like a cuff. Like, I see elastic. Cats don't have elastic on their body. What are you doing? And then just like taking a step back from that, you're like, what even is Cats in general? It's a play about cats. And then there's other cats. And then they talk about a cat that judges cats. And then after the judgment, they're all still cats. Like, even if it worked well, it's not a good story. And if you're a fan of cats, that's cool. Be a fan. Be a fan. Like your thing. It's really stupid. And not even just because it's a musical. And I don't hate musicals. But it's just like there's no point to this whole stupid movie. Even if you did it well, it wouldn't work that well, and you didn't do it well. Like, to the point where half of the cast was joking, and they're like, "God, I can't believe I was in that thing." It's like, it's still in the theaters. It's opening weekend, and you're dogging your own movie. Like, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars on this, I hope not. And you're just like, yeah, I'm not going to see that. Like, James Corden, who is in the movie, on his show, with his name on it, was like, I haven't seen Cats. Like, what are you doing? Why did you make it? Why are you in it? They had so many people in it, and like almost all of them were just like, God, this piece of crap. I actually feel bad because I don't remember her name, but the lead role in it, it was like her first big break. And she was like a very talented dancer, and she was like very good in her role, and she was just like, she kind of knocked it out of the park, if I'm being totally honest. But nobody cares. And she's going to struggle finding a job, maybe, because the movie was just that horrendous. It was so bad that everyone, including the people involved, were just like, this movie sucks, don't watch it. And you're like, it's not even out yet. What are you talking about? And then why did you make it? There's so much I can go into about this movie. It just sucks, man. It just sucks. Just go get a cat. It's gonna be more fun than this thing, and honestly, you'll deal with less actual poop with a real cat than you will with spending 2 hours watching whatever the hell that was.
I was sadly forced to watch this movie, thanks to Madison, and there are some scenes that just blew me away. With like Ian McKellen, there was a part where he just looks at the camera and goes, meow. And I'm like, what was that? Made no sense. He's talking normal. And meow. I'm like, why? But there's just so much wrong with this movie. And yeah, I do feel bad for the main actor in it, because I for my knowledge, she was a ballet dancer, and this is like you say, her first big movie. Thankfully, they only spent $95 million on it, so they didn't spend hundreds of millions. Oh, thank goodness.
Oh my God, 95 million mistakes.
And it's great. Go ahead.
You could have put $95 million in a litter box and just let actual cats destroy that money, and then just for good measure, just set all of it on fire, and it would have been a better use of $95 million.
I don't disagree with you, and it just shocks me on how many big actors were in this movie. Right. It wasn't just a bunch of D-list actors with one A-lister. This was like dozen A-listers were in this movie.
Names.
Yeah. Idris Elba, Ian McKellen, Taylor Swift was in this movie.
She was only in it for like 10 minutes. Though.
Yeah.
Stupid.
James Corden, Jennifer Hudson, Jason Derulo. But they're just...
He was weird.
Really
like
weird.
vaguely, like predatory, and not in like a cat type of way, like a please don't stand near me because I'm afraid you're going to touch me kind of way. It's just, the whole thing was just a mess, man. Don't watch it unless you want to, and then don't anyway.
It's definitely a rough time. We're gonna go and jump into my next one on my list, and this is another movie. The rest of these movies, two of the three are movies I was very excited about to come to theaters, and this one just broke my heart, and that is Batman vs Superman. And it's weird. It's very weird because going into this movie, I loved Man of Steel. I thought Henry Cavill killed it. Growing up, I was always more of a Marvel fan because I could never like Superman because he was just a Boy Scout who his issue was at the end of every comic was, what power did I forget that I can use now? And like
so true.
That's just what it always felt like. It's like, oh, that's the issue. How do I fix it? 20 pages later, I have this power. That's right. And it's not that like over the top or anything. It just, that's how it felt like a lot. And then his biggest villain was a rock. Just never. It just never really did it for me. And then Batman was. I thought Batman was all right until The Dark Knight, though. I was always kind of like, Batman's okay. It just never did it for me that like your superpower is just money. Just like Tony Stark, I'll be honest, Iron Man was cool. One of my least favorite Marvel characters. Like Robert Downey Jr. did a great job, and that's what brought the character to life for me. But when your superpower is just money and just you're smart, I don't know, it just doesn't really do it for me. I want to see like, spider webs and energy blast shooting from your hands, or you flying without technology. So Batman vs Superman, I was really excited because, again, I loved Henry Cavill as Superman. Thought he was great in Man of Steel. And then Batfleck happened. A lot of people were really concerned about it. And I was really excited. I really, really love Ben Affleck. And I don't know, I just feel like he didn't want to be Batman, even though he took the role. And now he's Batman again. He's returning as Batman in Flashpoint. And it's like he even said he doesn't want to be Batman. And he's Batman again. All right, Batfleck. There was so many cool things they could have done with this movie. And I think the problem was, for it being Batman vs. Superman, they felt like they had to make Batman and Superman their quarrel to be 3/4 of the movie. And that's what it was. Realistically, you have Superman, Boy Wonder, who's a Boy Scout, and Batman, who's a really rational, smart human being. They could have just like fought once and been like, why are we fighting? But instead it was, you're an alien. I don't like you, even though you're saving the world. And you're saving the world and hurting people a little too much. And I don't like you. I want to kill you. That made no sense. It really didn't. Like, outside of a comic standpoint, how are you going to take two good heroes and make them want to kill each other when they don't even kill people? So it was just really weird. The way they tried to make them fight for 3/4 of a movie when realistically you could have them fight after the first quarter and then brought Doomsday in way earlier, because they brought in Doomsday in this movie in the last like 30 minutes and he's only in it for 10-15 minutes when you could have made him this big bad, and you see him destroying buildings, destroying the city, hurting and killing people and doing all these crazy things, and been like, Superman and Batman get beaten by him. And then they come back and beat him together, or Wonder Woman comes with them and then they finally beat him. That would have been really cool too. But instead you do this really weird heroes fighting for 3/4 of a movie that's like 2.5 hours long. And it just wasn't needed. And again, like they could have just fought, and when one of them is like, wins, like they just talk finally. Because they're both characters that are very like, let's talk before we... I love how they can go up to like Lex Luthor about to destroy the world or something and be like, Lex, hear me out. You don't have to do this. You can still be a good person. Instead of just like, zip, lasers, dead. But that's what he does to Batman, the dude who's also saving your city. Well, a different city, but your universe. Didn't make any sense. And it kills me and it kills everyone else who's excited for this movie. That what brought them together is their mom's name. Come on.
It's not even an uncommon name.
Yeah, it's just Martha. They're like, save Martha. My mom? It's like, what?
How do you know my mom? Wait, hold on.
Dad?
Hold on.
It's like, what are you doing?
We're being Cub Scouts together. I knew I recognized that face. How do you know my mom?
So stupid.
And
Don't forget. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I'm gonna get there. Don't you
Thank
worry.
you. Thank you.
And that's not even the dumbest part of this movie, as Alex was about to allude to. I've seen a lot of bad stuff. I've seen a lot of stupid stuff in DC, a lot of stupid stuff in Marvel movies as well. In the 90s, he gave us a bat suit with bat nipples. He gave us bat nipples on a suit. Why? Even worse, why did young Bruce Wayne at the funeral fall down a hole and then bats resurrected him from the hole? Not resurrected, but lifted him from the hole. I really enjoy movies. I worked in a theater for almost 4 years, and I'm very forgiving in movies. I really am. I've seen some bad movies, and I walk out like, that was actually pretty good. Just like how I mentioned Aquaman earlier. I want to defend that movie just because I don't want to hate on movies all the time. And I stood up when that happened, and that's in the first 15-ish minutes of the movie. I stood up to walk out, and I was with my dad watching the film, and he grabbed my arm and yanked me down to finish the movie. It's one of my biggest regrets is finishing that movie.
Come on, man. He's Bad Angel, Mind Freak. That's all it is.
Yeah.
He's about to show you what your card is. So stupid.
Man, that movie, it's rough, and it could have been so good. And I've heard that actually the extended cut of it is actually pretty decent.
Oh, great. More of it.
Yeah, I haven't been able to finish it yet. Ugh. It's just crazy because apparently DC's problem is like the executors just keep getting in the way of the movies, just like the Justice League. We have the Zack Snyder coming out next year. And everyone's like, people are so hyped for that because Justice League was okay. It could have been way better. Now we're going to get a 4-hour film of it. Might be awesome, but 4 hours? But yeah, that's the third movie on my list.
I hope they prove me wrong about Zack Snyder because I don't want to not like him.
No, it's fair.
But it doesn't change the fact that I don't. But speaking of things I don't like, this is a movie that we actually saw together in the theaters with our good buddy Simon. You know Simon, the one who likes Jupiter Ascending because he's a freaking idiot? He's not. He's a very, very smart person. But he's a friggin' idiot when it comes to sci-fi films. Because first there's Jupiter Ascending, and now it's Lucy. He actually likes Lucy. You know Lucy, the movie? Lucy? Awful. It was... Finding my zen. It was a movie that used an already tired concept and still didn't even get to, like, a point of mediocrity. That was like movie 13 of... You only use percent of your brain. This makes you use more. And everyone was like, first of all, no. It's not how it works. Just at all. But let's pretend, because it's sci-fi, so we can pretend that this stupid non-fact is actually a fact. Whatever. That was fine like 12 movies before that. And then this one came out. And they made me listen to Morgan Freeman's voice tell me all of that just stupid facts about the drug and the brain and how the brain works, and that's not how the brain works. It's not how drugs work in brains. It's not how brains work in brains. It's not how drugs work in drugs. Literally nothing he said was true, and you made me hear that in Morgan Freeman's voice. That's strike one. And then I don't even know, like, I don't know what they were trying to do, because I get the middle. The beginning is stupid because it's the premise of you only use 10% of your brain, this makes you use all of it. Stupid. Then the middle is like, this person is tweaking out and doing crazy things because they're unlocking blah blah stupid movie brain. But whatever, that can be fun and dumb. That's fine. And then they just like straight up pull 2001: A Space Odyssey out of their ass, and they're just like, ha! This sucks again, and it's confusing, and we don't know why. And time travel computer rock monkey things. Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? What the hell? This isn't another, like, this in Cats, it's like, did you just take all of the drugs and then just, like, throw up colors, and then you were like, that's a movie. It's not a movie. It's not a freaking movie. You just go sit down, come to, drink a lot of water, maybe have a nap, and then use your brain to think. More than 10% of it, because apparently that is true for the people who made this freaking movie. It's just like, and then we left the theater, and I was like seething. So I was like, that was such a horrendous piece of shit. And then Simon was like, I kind of liked it. And I was like, I'm going to punch you. I don't know why. And I don't get mad when people like things. And I've said that before, and I'll say it again. But I couldn't understand how someone with a brain could actually watch that movie and be like, that's a movie. Not only is that a movie, that's a good movie. And then apparently there's like some cult following with this. Scarlett Johansson gets recognized a lot because she's Scarlett Johansson. And then a lot of the time, apparently, people say, I loved you in Lucy. And that hurts my brain because it makes me lose faith in the human race as a whole. And we were already on thin ice, man. Please don't like this movie. You don't like this movie, do you?
It's funny that you mentioned that because in the last movie we talked about, I said how I think that was the only movie I've ever wanted to stand up and walk out of. But I left this movie early. I went with you and Simon, and I remember I went to go to the bathroom and texted my dad to come pick me up early.
Oh my God, you did.
Yeah.
I'm gone.
Yeah, I don't even, like, I told you guys when I got home, I was like, hey guys, I went home. You guys think I went to the bathroom or something. That movie, I was like, this is terrible. Like, I don't get it. And it wasn't even like, maybe I was mad at myself because maybe I'm like, I'm so stupid, I don't get this movie. I just had to go home and like go vent and go cry. I'm like, I'm just that dumb. I just don't get it, but I'm glad I came out of it that you hated the movie as well.
So stupid.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. It was trying so hard to make you think so much. And I just feel bad for actors like Scarlett Johansson where there's just this garbage movies.
I know, she picks them.
Well, I would say like, and then they're just like, here's all this money. It's like, you can't like say no to that. And because again, like when you say yes to a movie, you don't know it's going to be that bad. So I don't know. Sad time.
What's yours? What's your next one? I gotta save some of this hatred from the last one. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna like die on cam. I'm just gonna be like pop.
Yeah, it'd be a big episode. It'd be a very big episode for us. So if you're gonna do that, make sure I'm filming. The last movie that I was excited for, I do have 2 films left on here. But this is the last one coming out I was extremely excited for. And as all of you know, as we've talked about it, we did a review for it. I love Star Wars movies. I really do. For me, it's superheroes, Lord of the Rings, and Star Wars. Those are like right at the top peak, my 3 favorites. And Last Jedi, I don't even know how to explain it. I like went feral at parts of this movie. I like growled angry. And you've known me for 10 years. I'm difficult to make angry. I'm usually pretty, for the most part, I'm usually pretty calm. this is one of those movies that genuinely made me lose like motor skills and the ability to talk. I was like, I hate it. And that's just, I was so angry with this movie because Force Awakens, I thought did a good job. I didn't really love it. I would say there's a lot of people that really liked it. I didn't love it. I thought it was good. I thought it was a step in the right direction. And I get it. It was a little boring at times. 1, 4, and 7 have this character that doesn't mean anything, that's in a desert planet, that finds a mentor and wants to be a pilot, and then finds out that they're more than the lonely, no parents kid that no one really cares about. And they did a really good job in 7, I thought, making us love Rey. And that was really cool. And they did some really great character development. And then the 8th movie came along, and it was just really weird. We have Luke, who is this like great, brilliant Jedi. Everyone says one of the strongest, maybe the strongest Jedi ever. And just like Yoda, man, you brought this up yesterday, and this is perfect. Just like Yoda, he loses once, and then he goes and runs away to an island. There's so many things. Forever, yeah.
Forever! That's like the Jedi way. It's like, oh no, I'm gone forever.
Yeah. So and it's funny because 1, 4, and 7 have mirrors of each other a little bit, and 5 and 8 is you have this great Jedi who ran away because they lost to a place where no one can find him, where no one knows about him, and then trained someone, and they really did Luke dirty. They made him this whiny, complaining character who really did not like him at all. And it was just this, I failed, I didn't do well training Ben, and he turned to the dark side, and now I'm a crybaby. And it was just so weird. And it sucks because one of like the coolest scenes out of all 3, like the new films, was in this movie with the killing of Snoke. And I mean, spoilers, this movie came out a few years ago. If you like Star Wars, you've seen it. See, I loved Ben turning on Snoke. I thought that was like, oh my God, Ben is going to turn and he's going to be good now. And then,
I was fine with that.
Yeah.
The whole monologuing that Snoke did, it took 11 minutes.
Yeah.
He turns the saber and you're just like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're gonna do. I caught on like 9 minutes ago. Just die. Shut up and die.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what's going on. He's wrong, get it? Because he's right, but it's not about her. I know. Just do it already. This isn't even my movie.
The monologuing was really rough. I 100% agree with you there. But to me, once he kills Snoke, it's a cool scene. I like what they did. And then they both thought the other one was going to turn, and they end up not. It was really interesting, that part. But then there was that just awkward, weird casino scene of like, let's look how beautiful and cool we can make CGI. Like, I get it. We see that stuff. Like, it's cool, fine, but it didn't have to be like 30 minutes of the movie. And all of that could have been stopped if Poe Dameron wasn't such a bitch. God. I've never disliked a character so much in a movie where I'm like, I hope you don't make it back on your flight. Like, please don't come back. And I get it because there's some people on the side of, the pseudo head of the ship, the pseudo commander could have just told Poe, like, hey, we got this figured out. We know what we're doing. And just like told him the plan. But at the same time, like, she doesn't know everyone that well, and she doesn't want to tell someone, and they could be a spy or whatever. So, like, I get it. But Poe's side is literally like, I'm 40, and I'm going to act like Anakin. I just don't understand it.
He doesn't like sand either.
Yeah, he doesn't like, exactly. And it killed me because I just didn't understand it, why he was being such a baby about it when he just listened to your captain and you wouldn't have gotten so many people killed. Like, because of you, Poe, all those ships got blown up. And then there's two more parts of this movie that just suck. There is the why is Leia flying? Like the whole vacuum of space thing that we've talked about that you've brought up in the other movies. It's like she's taken out and then she's just like dead flying. And props to J.J. Abrams. It's like putting a big old band-aid on that and just being like, she was a Jedi. I think that's what they were going to lead to and stuff in the movies, but like they did a great job of explaining it. And that was kind of okay, I get it now. But you should have given us some sort of little hint to like, because that she just flew and we're like, what is going on now? People can fly in Star Wars. They could have just given us something. Maybe like she just moved something like with the Force or something of that. Anything.
Did they not do that?
I don't think
they had something. I thought they teased it a little bit.
I don't remember them teasing it at all, at least. I've seen all like the 3 newest ones multiple times. I've watched them multiple times because I want to like them as much as I can. And then finally, the way Luke dies.
Ugh.
It started off really cool with the whole projection thing, like the Force projection. Cool. It was neat.
And the footprint thing. Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so cool.
It's really cool, but then like the reason he died was almost as bad as Leia. Like it's the same reason actually. They lost the will to live.
Oh, with Padme. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Padme. Sorry, thank you.
And now I'm dead. It's like, well, then go. Just why? Why are you even still here? Why didn't you do this 4 movies ago?
Yeah, and it just I don't know. I really didn't like that at all because they really just did Luke dirty in that movie, and it sucked because I'll be honest, I do like the prequels a lot. And because I grew up with them, I think I always liked them a little bit more than 4, 5, and 6. But I always loved Luke. Well, and again, that's just my like nostalgia. I will happily say, in the court of law, 4, 5, and 6 are way better movies than 1, 2, and 3. My little child heart loves 1, 2, and 3. 5 is my second favorite, but we digress. And that's one of the big things that killed me with The Last Jedi, is I was so excited, and then they just took it away from me. Alex.
That was one of the worst ones.
Yeah. Alex. Give it to the people.
Well, I feel it already. Okay. If you know me at all, or if you've seen pretty much any episode of this whole show that we do, this won't surprise you at all. But I haven't really gone into detail until now. And I don't go into why, because then afterwards I feel like I need to take like blood pressure medication, or I need to just like fight someone because this movie just sucks. It's Doolittle. Doolittle is the worst movie that has ever been made. It is awful. It is so bad. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this yet, God bless you and I wish I could be you. It starts out with who cares? And then it gives you, like, there's a kid and there's Doolittle and he's gone crazy because his wife died and he just, like, talks to animals, kind of, maybe, who knows. And then they just have like a kid go in there and he's like, oh, you're gonna be my mentor, and he's like, no, and then he's like, yes, and then he's like, fine, and then the kid just can like talk to animals like in a week. And it's not like the Eddie Murphy style where there's like that level of connection where they're communicating. It's literally just he's been with them for so long that he understands the language. So they'll cut away to someone else's perspective, and he'll be talking to like a gorilla, and he's grunting like a gorilla, and then the gorilla, and then it cuts to their perspective, and they're speaking English, which is a really cool way to show how they communicate. And it really lets you know that, wow, he really does have a connection with these animals, and he's not just some sort of like superhero. But then they totally take all that away by just having a kid there for like 3 days, and then he's talking to a polar bear. And then you're like, okay. And also the Polar Bear's John Cena. Okay. This movie sucks, but I still see it as a movie. And you sit there and you're waiting for something to happen. And you're sitting there listening to Robert Downey Jr., the man who, with the help of Jon Favreau, saved the entire Marvel brand. Literally. Without Jon Favreau and Robert Downey Jr., Marvel likely would have gone bankrupt. And then, the first thing he does after Iron Man is this. And you get to watch him, and you get to listen to him speak with an accent that has never been spoken before. I don't know what he was going for. I assume it was some form of Martian, because it's the only way I can justify it. And then you're like, okay, this is really annoying. But then the back of the brain is like, this is meant for kids. It's not going to be great. But just watch it. It'll be fun. There's like 400 people in this movie. And you know like 398 of them. And you like all of them. You'll like something. And then they have this huge buildup of like this huge plan that they're going to have. We're going to storm this castle. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then they show you none of it. Zero. They don't show you any of it. But worse than that, they don't show it to you. And then they show you that it's happening. How, you might ask, Brandon? Well, I'll tell you. They show a parrot flying around a castle telling you what's happening. You can see them. Little do very little. And he's just kind of like, bah, 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 bah. And you're like, oh, they're doing the thing that I've been waiting an hour and a half to see. Because it's the only thing that has happened in this movie. And then they don't show you. They just show you a parrot flying around a castle telling you what's happening. This is a movie, right? This is what movies are supposed to do that. They're supposed to be like, hey, look at what's happening. Not, hey, here's a parrot. He's going to tell you what's happening like it's story time in second grade again. That's not a movie. That's not what movies do. And you're just sitting there like, are they really just going to, like, just... Is this it? Is this the movie? Is this how it ends? Is the parrot telling me they're storming the castle and it worked? Great. Happily ever after. No, Brandon. No. Because that's not where it ends. They get through all that. Then some good things happen, some bad things happen, and you hate the movie a little bit more. Then we find out that there's a dragon in a cave or a castle, or who cares, because at this point I'm 95% checked out. But I get that there's a dragon somewhere. And so I'm like, alright, stupid parrot can die. Save me with this dragon. Make it a cool dragon. You spent so much money on this movie. Show me something. And then they show us the dragon. Now, I have nothing bad to say about how the dragon looks or the voice actor behind the dragon. This dragon is angry and it's eating people, Brandon. It's eating people. Soldiers, knights, people. You know, people. The people kind. And then we find out why it's angry. It's because this dragon is constipated. Now, I know it sounds like that I just made that shit up. But I didn't. The dragon ate so many people and so much armor. Look at this. I'm so mad that my camera's blurry. There it is. It ate so many people and so much armor that its colon was backed up. And that's why it's angry. Because it got a tummy ache. And then how do we rectify this issue, Brandon? Don't worry. I'll tell you. Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man himself, decides that we are going to save the world and this dragon by making it fart. So they make the dragon fart. And every 6-year-old in that theater lost their damn mind. because, haha, dragon fart! Ha! They don't fart! You're right! They don't fart! It's a dragon! It eats people! It's fire! It doesn't fart! It's a dragon! And then you're like, okay, well, I officially hate this movie. And then it starts farting out armor. And I'm not making this up either. It's farting out armor on everyone. Everywhere. They just get covered in fart armor. All the animals, all the people, everyone in the cave. It's just like sticky chest plates just everywhere. And you're like, what the hell am I watching? First the parrot's just gonna narrate the whole damn movie, and then I gotta see a dragon fart out on some furry little critters with voices of actors that I love. And then, another step. The way they end the movie. Who cares about the dragon? Who cares about the parrot? Because it's time to go back home. Because someone's sick. And I guess that's why they were going, and then I guess that's why they found the dragon, and I guess that's why they found the cure. I don't care. I don't know. This movie sucked. And then they get back. And Tom Holland, the dog, interesting choice, don't hate it, who they just left behind the whole time. You had Iron Man, Spider-Man, and they just went deuces and left. And he's just sitting, chilling, and he just solves everything. He knows who did it, how they did it, why they did it, because he's a dog and detective, I guess? Detective. Okay, fine, it's a kid's movie. Dog's a detective. And then he just tells him, and then it's over. There's nothing. It's not a movie. There's no conflict. There's no resolution. It's just like, and you're like, what? And then it's like, hi, I'm a parent. I'm going to tell you everything that happens. And you're like, why? Show me. They're right there. They're lit. I can see them. Just move the camera down. I'll watch it myself. I have a brain. I can get this. And then dragon farts and armor's hitting animals and stuff. And then you get home and Tom Holland's just like, yeah, we're chill. I figured it out. And you're like, then why did I watch this? This isn't a movie. What are we doing here? I feel like I'm looking at my watch. It's like 2.5 hours later. And I'm just like, what am I doing? What happened? And then it's just credits. And you're like, no, this is not how a movie ends. This is not... You didn't even start a movie. You can't end a movie you didn't start. What is happening? And then you just have to leave. That's it. Then you just go home and you have to live with the fact that you just did that. I forever have done that. I watched Doolittle in the freaking movie theater. I can't take that back. I will forever be someone who watched that movie on purpose and I paid money for it. Why? Why? Ugh! I'm fine. I'm cool. I'm fine. I'll put my headphones back on. What's your movie?
Oh.
Oh my God.
I know the theme of our show for this episode is what movies make us most angry. And I definitely think you knocked it out of the park there.
I was saving it for you.
This next one for me.
You know what's funny? Is I got so mad that okay, little peek behind the curtain. I recently had like a minor oral surgery sort of thing. I just got so mad that I taste blood now.
Oh my goodness.
This movie is killing me. Oh, okay. What?
All right. So your movie, no, you're good. Your movie made you so angry, as we just saw. Mine makes me angry that I'm genuinely depressed for about 3 months of the year.
Oh, God.
And I know when we originally talked about it, you were very surprised with this film. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised with it as well. The movie that makes me the most angry in the entire world is Elf.
Yikes.
And I guess here's the big thing for me. You can hate Doolittle.
I do.
But you never have to watch that movie again. Isn't that great? That feels good, doesn't it? It feels good that you never have to watch Doolittle again, right?
It's like a morphine drip. I'm just like, oh, God.
And
yeah, baby.
I can never escape Elf. I will never be able to escape Elf. It is on all the time. No matter where I go. My parents love this movie. I cannot walk past the living room without seeing this movie on, starting in the day after Thanksgiving. I cannot go to a doctor's appointment, a dentist appointment, oil change without this movie being on once there's snow on the ground. And I will never understand what is funny about this movie. You have a grown man who thinks he's an elf in New York. End credits. That is this movie.
And Will Ferrell.
And I hate Will Ferrell.
It's charming.
I will say that because I know he'll never see this. And I know he wouldn't beat me up. He would probably just cry. Outside of kicking and screaming, and Step Brothers,
Also good.
I really don't like Will Ferrell. And I'll be honest, even in Kicking and Screaming, I don't care for him. The kids are hilarious in that movie. Step Brothers, he's good in that movie. I'll be honest. He is great in Step Brothers. I don't like Fletch. I don't like Saturday Night Live skits that he's in, or it's Living Color, one of the two. I know he's in one of them a good amount.
He doesn't know.
Okay. And there's just something about him, and it's weird because I love Adam Sandler, and he's a grown-up who acts like a kid, and that's what Will Ferrell is. And I something about his voice or just something, but this movie just kills me, and there's just no escaping it. It's just a constant 3 months of my life that I have to deal with this movie every single year. Zooey Deschanel is good in the movie. Great voice. You get to hear her sing for a little bit. It's cool. But I'll never get this movie. I never will. And it just makes me sad knowing it's like, yeah, cool. Thanksgiving's here. My favorite holiday. Snow. Elf. It's like, that's my year every year at the end of the year. And it sucks.
I get that. Because I like Elf. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. And yeah, it is on everywhere all the time for months and months, which if you like it, it's great because, hey, there's nothing on, throw on Elf, it's fun. But yeah, I can't imagine how I would live my life if Doolittle was on like 4 months out of the year, every year, and everyone else liked it. And I felt just like a total alien. Like, how do you not see what I'm seeing? I feel like that just sucks.
Oh, goodness. I need to go have a nice little cry after this one. So, yeah. To round out my list, I had Fast and Furious 4 through Infinity, Jack and Jill, New Mutants, Batman vs. Superman, Last Jedi, and Elf. Those are the 5 and an honorable mention movies that make me just angry. So angry.
Yeah. I had a couple honorable mentions: Godzilla, Second Fantastic Beasts, Jack and Jill. And then my 5 were the latter half of Fast and the Furious franchise: Aquaman, Cats, Lucy, and Do Little. Before I go scream and you go cry, why don't we tell the people where they can find us, Brandon?
Yeah, so we can make it real nice and easy for you. It's just thenerdchambers.com. All of our social media links are on there. If you want to find our podcast, real nice and easy. Takes you right to Spotify. If you want our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you want to read articles, we got a bunch of articles on there. We write a few a week. If you you want to meet everyone, you know what we look like. If you want to see what everyone else looks like and just kind of get to know them a little bit more, go to Meet the Team. Outside of that, also our merch shop is on there as well. Our new sale did just end. If you want to pick up some TNC movie nights or the Nerd Chambers merch, we also have, of course, TNC Penguin, TNC Otter, and then our brand new show that is episode 2 just dropped, I think yesterday. That is Commander and You. So if you're a Magic the Gathering fan, definitely go check that one out. And some good news, in a week, the show is coming out on Wednesday for all of you, the 14th. 1 week from this time coming out, Wednesday and Thursday, the new sale will be up. It's our biggest sale we've ever had. It's 20% off everything in the store. So if you want to go support us, we really appreciate it. It helps us out, and we get closer and closer to getting to do this as a full-time career instead of, other jobs. So we appreciate it. We really do. But yeah, that's going to be it for us. And when the show comes out, if you want to come hang out with us, keep tabs up on our social media. We'll be doing a Netflix watch party for Herbie Halloween, the new Adam Sandler movie on Netflix. What?
Herbie?
Is it? Yeah, Herbie Halloween? Maybe?
It was like Hubby Halloween or Hubie Halloween.
Hubie Halloween. So if you want to come watch Hubie Halloween with us on Netflix, we'll be doing a watch party. Don't know if it's going to be Wednesday night, so the night this comes out, or Thursday night. We'll let you guys know on social media. Thank you so much for stopping by. I am Brandon. This is Alex.